Hi, I'm Mika.
And I'm Lorraine, and welcome to the first ever virtual credit bootcamp. So a little bit about my story is that I'm a real estate agent, and a lot of my clients were getting held up during the pre-approval process because of their poor credit. And since I have over 15 years of experience of helping people to fix their credit, I thought I would incorporate that into my business. And I have been able to successfully help place many different families and individuals into their new homes because they were able to get their credit fixed. And so when I was in college, I didn't have the information that I have now. I didn't have the knowledge that I have now about credit. And you know what happens when you come of age? They start sending you all these credit card offers in the mail. Right? Some are really pretty, some let you put your picture on them and they come really colorful and with little pictures of animals and everything, and so you have all these nice cards in your wallet, and I'm just swiping everywhere. I am buying everything, shoes, purses, going out to eat, all of that stuff. And what happens at 30 days? You get the bill, and I'm just like, wait, what? I have to pay this money back? I thought this was like free money. But you know, I'm in college right now, I can't pay this back. And what happens? They send it off to a collection agency because they charge it off because you can't pay your bill. And so at that point, collection agencies start to come after you because you didn't pay the bill. And so here I have all these collection agencies harassing me, calling my phone, calling my job, writing me letters from law offices, and it really scared me. And I didn't really know what to do, but after a lot of, trial and error research. So the collection agencies, they come after you to collect the money that you spent with the previous creditor. And knowing what I know now, I shouldn't have paid them anything because I don't have a contract with them. But we'll talk about that more later. But I was able to bounce back from having poor credit, and I've done it many times, and I've helped many different people to be able to recover from having poor credit. And it doesn't matter how low your score is, it doesn't matter what accounts you have on there, it does not matter. You can bounce back from having poor credit. You can have another chance, and that's why we brought the Credit Bootcamp to you, in order to show you that there is hope. So, thanks for watching.
Background about myself. I started investing in real estate, and one of the things that happened to me in 2007, 2008, I pretty much lost everything. I was investing all over the United States, had all my eggs in one basket, and when the market crashed, unfortunately, I came crashing down with it. So you know what happened to my credit, right? Everything went on a dive. And so here I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I start? Like, where do I begin fixing my credit and rebuilding my empire quicker and faster? So one of the things that I've learned in helping others and myself take my credit from a 400 to a 750 was actually learning the laws on how to fix your credit. I'm also a #1 best-selling author on Amazon, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Business Credit, and that was another avenue that helped me restore my credit so that I can build my personal credit through business credit, which is a whole nother caveat if you're interested in investing and not using your personal credit, or starting a business and not using your personal credit. Business credit is a way to go. But what I want you to know is that there are laws to protect you from from damaging your credit. Pretty much I was over $1 million in debt, and if I know what I know now, I probably would have never filed bankruptcy. There's also laws that can actually remove bankruptcy. So today we're going to cover some basics. We're going to give you a free letter showing you all the different tricks and tools on how you can actually have collections removed from your credit report. So stay tuned. Just wanted to give you a little bit about who I am.
Today we're going to be talking about steps on how to clean your credit, how to get rid of those ugly collection accounts, how to leverage your credit, how to make your credit work for you, and also how to build your credit, especially if you don't have any credit established. But first, you need a credit report, right? So you're going to visit two websites.
The first is your annualcreditreport.com and freecreditreport.com.
So make sure you write those two websites down to get a credit report, and let's get started. Credit report, it's so important that you verify that the information on your credit report is correct. So there's different things that come on your credit report, such as your name, your address, your spouse's name, your employment, the accounts that you have on there, your payment history, your balances, if there's any charge-off accounts, and if any closed accounts are on there. So it's so important to make sure that that information is accurate, because if it's not, it can negatively impact your credit score. So say, for example, if you have, John Doe's information reporting to your credit report, you are adopting whatever information or whatever history that he has going on. So you want to make sure that the information on your credit report is in fact yours and it is accurate.
So can I ask a quick question?
You sure can.
So if my name is spelled wrong, or there's a different address on there that I never lived at, will that affect my credit scores?
That sure will affect your credit score. So make sure the information is accurate. If it is not accurate, it is up to you to write a letter to the credit bureaus to dispute that information so that they can fix it. You're going to just simply write them, what's wrong, what needs to be fixed, and the correct information. And they should update that. And they have 30 to 45 days to update that and respond back to you. Now I would like to talk to you about your credit score and how your credit score is made. So I like to equate it to baking a cake. There are many different ingredients that you need in order to bake a cake. You need your flour, your milk, your sugar, your butter, your vanilla flavoring, and all of that, right? And you need all of that to make your cake. But if you're missing an item, such as, say, you're missing butter, would you be able to still make a cake? Yes, you would, but would it come out the way it's supposed to? No, it would not. And that's the same thing with the credit score. Your credit score is made up of different ingredients, such as your payment history, the age of the account, the limit, the balance, the utilization, the type of account that you have. So all of those things make up your credit score. So if you're just addressing one of those ingredients, such as, say, you're paying your account on time and you're wondering, why is your credit score still the way that it is? Well, you're only addressing one part of the credit score. You're only addressing the payment history. Whereas if you have a high balance, that means your utilization is high and you're not addressing that. So your credit score isn't the best that it can be because you're not addressing all of those different ingredients. So it is so important that you pay attention to the various things that make up your credit score. Talk about some things that affect your credit score, such as inquiries and late payments. So inquiries come in two different forms. There's soft inquiries and there's hard inquiries. Soft inquiries can come from places such as a cable company when they have to run your credit, or maybe a cell phone company. Those are soft inquiries. Then you have your hard pulls or your hard inquiries, which come from mortgage companies or credit companies. And those different pulls, some of them show up on your credit report and some do not. So every year you're allotted 4 hard inquiries before it starts to negatively impact your credit score. So you want to make sure that you keep your inquiries low. So don't always go around running your credit. If you're in the department store and they say, oh, would you like to apply for this credit card? That's an inquiry. So you want to be careful on running it too much. And remember, you're only allotted 4 of those per year before they start affecting your credit score. Then you have late payments. Late payments bring your score down the most out of anything. You want to always make sure that you are on time when you make your payments. So here are some ways to avoid late payments. Call the company and simply ask to change your payment date. So if you're having any issues making your payments on time, ask them if you can change your payment date so that it coincides with maybe when you have your payday or when you have more money during the month. Another way that you can avoid late payments is to split your payments up. So say if you get paid every 2 weeks, split your payment in half so that the big chunk is not coming out at the end of the month. So say if your bill is about $50 a month, pay $25 every 2 weeks. So that can kind of alleviate some of that burden. The last thing is maybe signing up for some type of disability insurance or some kind of forgiveness plan, because every company usually has some type of an insurance plan built into their program. And you would just pay a couple of dollars or a percentage of however much that you borrow every month that covers you like an insurance policy. So say if you lose your job, or if you get sick, or some other serious and compelling reason that you cannot pay your bill, you would just ask them to utilize the insurance that you do have. So I hope this.
So I want to talk about the different type of accounts that you can have on your credit report. There's revolving accounts, there are installments accounts, and there's also secured debt accounts. And this also makes up the ingredients to your credit report, because you need this variety on your credit. So sometimes people are saying, well, you know what, I have a car on my credit report and I have one credit card, but I don't know why my scores aren't going up. It's because you do not have all the ingredients to create a better score. So I just want to talk about installment. Like, installment credit is something that it's more attached to like a secured debt, like a mortgage payment, a car note, if you buy like a wedding ring or something like that. Those are like what you call installment credit, because they're attached to some type of secured debt. And then you have what we call unsecured debt, which is your credit cards, which is normally associated with revolving debt. And so that is something that's happening every single month along with this installment. They're just coded different on your credit report, but those different codes actually are involved in the ingredients of building your credit. So I just wanted to cover those two pieces just for people to know that, if they only have a few accounts and they're wanting to know, okay, why isn't my credit score going up, or why isn't my credit at this? It's because you probably don't have enough installment accounts or enough revolving accounts to actually stimulate your credit.
Utilization. So utilization is basically how much you use your credit, and it's basically a measure of the amount of credit that you have on a card that's being used. So for example, if you have a limit that is $1,000 and it's only $300 balance on your card, that means your utilization rate is at 30%. And how you would calculate that is you would take your limit and multiply it by 0.20 or 0.30. And whatever that number is, that's about how much you should have if you're carrying a balance. So you can use your card and, swipe it everywhere and pay for, gas and groceries and, stimulate your credit by using it. But if you're needing to carry a balance over to the next month, you want to keep it at about a 20 or 30% utilization rate.
Got a question.
Yes.
Now, I've been told that 40% is good, and then sometimes I should pay it off, and then some people tell me I shouldn't pay it off. Like, what's the actual number? Is it okay to be at 40%, and how much does that affect my credit, or should I be paying off my cards if I'm using them to buy gas or to buy groceries? Like, should we pay them all off, or should we?
So yes, you can pay your card off, but if you pay your card off, you should, start using it the next month, because credit goes up because it is stimulated. So you have to use your credit in order for it to work in your favor. 40% is okay, but the target number is about 20 to 30% utilization rate.
Okay, so is it safe to say that I'm supposed to use it 1 month and then I don't have to use it next month? I mean, like, tell me, what was that thing you used to talk about, like a relationship?
Well, yeah, using your credit is kind of like a relationship. So, like, if you're dating somebody, would you be okay with just going out maybe, only during the holidays, or only like a couple times a year?
If I don't like them, shit, girl, yeah.
No. So oh my gosh. So a little bit more about inquiries is that inquiries stay on your credit report for 2 years. They usually fall off after 2 years, but they impact your score one of those 2 years. So the first year that it inquiries on your credit report, it impacts your score, but then the second year that it's on there, it stops impacting your credit report, your credit score. And also, say if you're late on your bill, as I mentioned earlier about late payments, and you incur a late fee, usually those late fees can, range from $25 to $35. You can always call the company that charges the late fee and ask them to reverse that fee so that you can get that money back. Sometimes they have reserves set aside for that, but you have to ask for it because they're not going to tell you.
Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this credit boot camp, because we all want to know how we can remove derogatory accounts, right? That's right. So I'm going to go over how you can avoid debt collectors from calling you, and also how to get them removed from your credit report. So I'm going to go over a letter, because most of the time we get collection letters in the mail and we don't read them. We throw them away because we believe that we owe them, but technically they give us a way out in the letter. And I'm going to read this letter, and it's always in fine print. I'm going to read this letter that it's from a collection agency, and I'm going to read what it says. It says, unless you notify this office within 30 days after receiving this notice that you dispute the validity of this debt or any portion thereof, this office will assume this debt is valid. So basically what they're saying in fine print is they're basically saying, if you don't respond to this letter, you're giving us the right to report it to your credit. So you might be wondering, how did I get these collections on my credit report? It's because you didn't respond to the letter. And then some of us move and we never see the letter. So that's why it oftentimes can be removed. And so I have this letter that right here, and if you put your email in the comment section, we will email this letter to you, and I guarantee you it will get any collection removed from your credit report. So all these collection companies that are charging you all this money, they're using this letter and a plethora of other letters, but this one is to stop the creditors from calling you, and it also will remove the collections from your credit report. Now we're going to talk about the statute of limitations.
So when the creditor is coming after you because of some money that maybe you owed a company and they sold it to the collection agency, and say if you agree with them that you owe them this money, and if you agree in writing, in the state of California, they only have 4 years to collect from you. But if you agree over the phone, say you answered one of their phone calls and you said, yes, I do owe ABC company or whatever, then that means that they only have 2 years to collect from you. So my question is to you, how long have you been paying a collection account or a debt collector?
Yeah, or maybe you have a collection that is like 7 years old and is still on your credit report, or if it's 5 years old and it's still on your credit report, you can actually have that removed just from that little bit of information right there. And it's the Fair Credit Reporting Act?
The Fair Credit Reporting Act protects you as a consumer against those debt collectors.
Right.
And there are federal civil codes and laws that you have to either quote over the phone or put into a letter, in which we have here that we can send to you, that basically holds them accountable and holds them responsible for them incorrectly trying to collect from you.
Correct. The next thing I want to talk about is also I get this a lot. People call me all the time frantic about being served. So if you are ever served and you get a summons or you get a judgment, well, if you get the judgment, let's just talk about being served first. Don't run away from that. Don't be afraid by it. Don't be fearful about it. All they're saying is that they're serving you. But if you don't do anything, then you're giving them the ability to do a default judgment, and then they have the right to garnish your paycheck. So I always tell individuals that call me and that if they've ever been served or they get a summons from a debt collector, to file an answer. It's about 2 to 3 pages in pretty much any county, and you can do it yourself. And you pretty much fill out the paperwork, file an answer, and then they're going to respond back, and you have a court date. And then at that time, it's your time to go and actually fight for your rights. So if you have ever been served or you ever were afraid of being sued, fear not, because we have the laws and the civil codes that you can utilize to help and protect you from getting a default judgment. So in order to avoid a default judgment, you definitely...
We thank you so much for tuning in to the Virtual Credit Bootcamp. We hope that you got so much information that you can go home and change your credit.
Because when you change your credit,
you change your life. And you can reach us if you email us at creditbootcamp3@gmail.com, because we will send you all the forms that we discussed today in an email, but you have to email us, or you can leave your email down below in the comment section.
That's right. And we also do offer frequent asked questions. We get a lot of questions about other scenarios like medical bills, or like repossession. So if you guys have any questions on those, please feel free to email us and we give you all the information and letters.
So again, you can email us at creditbootcamp3@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook at Credit Bootcamp, or you can find my personal page, LJM Real Estate.
And you can find me on IG at Credit Coleman and on Facebook at Credit Coleman.
So thank you so much.